Okay, now we are really excited because we have a dialogue and conversation, Aisha, and we have a special guest in the studio, Mbak Desi Bakir, the Chief Marketing Officer of Samara Group. Hello, Mbak Desi.
Hi,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Aisha. Good morning, Audrey.
And it is so
what a coincidence.
What a real coincidence this is.
we are very color coordinated, and it's like maybe it's the theme for the Ideafest 2023.
Well,
no?
actually, the theme for this the color scheme for this year's Ideafest is very colorful, as you can see, but I didn't intend to. So yeah, I think it's fate.
but I reckon like every year Ideafest is always colorful.
Well, Ideafest is always colorful in terms of theme, in terms of speakers, in themes of verticals, but in terms color-wise, I think this year we match Ideafest best.
I love it, and I love that we got the note on the color scheme for today. Well, before we go into the Ideafest, Mbak Desi, it's so great to have you in here. We know that you have so much experience, like over 15 years of experience in entrepreneurship as well as marketing. So we would love to know more first about your own career journey and your background.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I think next year will be my 20th anniversary in career. So over 15 years is 15 plus 5 years actually. So I started out as a trainee in one of the FMCGs here in Indonesia. I was there for about 10 years, so circling around from brands, and the last job description that I have, the last role that I had was in corporate media. And then afterwards, in 2014, I left, and then I founded my own company. That company no longer exists, and then founded another company, and that company has evolved through mergers, acquisitions, and such to Samara Group now at the moment. So I think next year will be the celebration where my career in corporate and my career in entrepreneurship will be the same, year, 10 plus 10.
Ooh, the 20 years of milestones in marketing and
Well, that being said, that really does make me feel kind of mature. Let's not say old yet.
I mean, you look really young.
Expert.
So, yes, expert.
expert.
Good word.
So there are so many memorable projects per se, obviously. But if we're talking about memorable, doesn't have to be good ones. Maybe you have shared some good memories all over. But we would like to also know what some kind of like bad experience, but it makes you evolve in a person and career-wise.
Yeah, I think one of the core memories that I have about my career journey is actually I used to work in Unilever Indonesia. Unilever Indonesia, when the first year of your tenure there, they test you 3 times. So they make you present, and I don't know now, because it's almost 20 years ago, the 3rd month, the 6th month, and the 11th month. So that's your assessment. So you have a project, and then you have to present it. I think by my second presentation, my then leader left. We had a certain emptiness in the position, so I had to report to a much higher level, which is very easily disconnected, because I was still very young then, and she was also very experienced, so there was a disconnection and such, and disconnection in terms of content, the news was fine. But I remember the presentation to one of the board of directors went really, really bad. So I cannot answer any of the questions. There are things that I didn't prepare well, and I remember that I went out of there crying in the bathroom, thinking that I was going to be sacked. This is it. This is over. And then I remember my so they rotate you, right? So my future should be line manager come to me and say, this one time does not define the failure, because you've been here 6 months. People are not judged by one mistake, and because of that, you need to know that the people there are still second and third chances, and what you did the previous period actually matters. So that's when I realized that although one mistake feels really, really bad and really, really, I don't know, makes you feel like you can't move on anymore, but actually it's not. A mistake can be overcome, and one mistake does not define your state. You can still move on. The past good deeds that you've done actually help you correct any of the mistakes that you made then. So I think that happened maybe 19 years ago, but I still remember up to now. And not just for me, but I also put that value to my team and my surroundings. That second chances are really there, and one mistake does not define you.
Yeah, it's very important for the younger generation to have that also a mentality not to give up easily.
Yes. Yes. I think we've heard that many times, and I think people are really tend to be very hard on themselves, right? When other people makes mistake, you forgive them much easier than you forgive the mistakes that you make. So, but I think that is one of the key values that I hold, that one mistake does not define you, one ruins does not define you. You can still move on, because I don't agree with you only live once. You live every single day. You only die once. So, yeah.
Some words of wisdom right there, Aisha. Well, I'm curious, Madesi, why did you choose entrepreneurship as well as marketing over other career options, especially having been there for almost 20 years?
Yeah, I think marketing is actually, when I was in university, my major was accounting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, accounting. I was it was really hard for me to finish that accounting. I was thinking of moving courses and such, but then I think that will make my college years a lot longer. So then I decided to finish. But marketing has always been interesting because I think it involves a lot of human interest. When you say marketing, you don't really just sell, right? You need to know the people that you're selling to, you're marketing to. You need to have a cause, you need to have a story. One of my interests is storytelling, so I think that's why it's very interesting to do that as well. And when you ask why entrepreneurship, I think it was just really like a trial and error. When I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I'm already quite mature. A lot of people started when they in their mid-20s and such. I started when I was 33. And at 33, I left the company pregnant with my second child. So I think that was also a really hard decision, because a lot of changes happens in my life back then. But then I thought, 33, if it doesn't work well, maybe I'll give it about 2-3 years. At 35, I can still come back. But turns out, almost 10 years later, I never really came back.
So it's like a turning point for you.
Yeah, it's just like a really turning point. It's just a really trial. I didn't really have that. I have to, be unicorn didn't even exist. I think at the time that term unicorn, I didn't have that. But what I want is to create more impact. And I think that I can do that if I have more control over the things that I do. That's why I decided to, found my own company and such and such. There are failures and also hardships in between, but because of the what I mentioned, I think failures, hardships, one does not define you. So I think here I am still trying to make things work.
And I think, like, personally, marketing is in your blood. Like, people in marketing, they have the talent to do that. And I'm glad that you find yourself doing marketing, and now as the CMO of Samara Group. Now, can you please give maybe a brief background about the group and the business, how it works?
Well, Samara Group, previously I mentioned that the company that I founded in 2015 has evolved through mergers and acquisitions to become the company that it is now. So Samara Group is a group of companies that works in content and experience, focusing on youth. Youth, I don't want to define the age, but let the audience decide.
Yeah, youth at heart.
That's true. Yes.
So content and experience. So we focus a lot on those things. So we in the company there are several subsidiaries. We have a live event promoter, which the one that does Ideafest. And we have also Synchronized Fest coming up.
That's
next week.
exciting.
This weekend, right?
Not next week. This weekend.
This weekend.
On the 1st of
on the
September,
1st to the 3rd of September. We have investments in film companies. We also have a talent and influencer agencies. We even debuted 2 groups, so 1 boy group, 1 girl group. The boy group is called Unity, the girl group is called First. And we have our own media channel, so Homeless Media. So I think it revolves a lot around content and experience. We also recently acquired a ticketing management system because they have a live. So we want to create like a full ecosystem of content and experience as well as data at the end to give the people of Indonesia, our target audience, as well as brands and advertisers, an avenue to connect.
And I love that word that you use is ecosystem.
Yeah.
So it's everything is interdependent on each other,
Yeah.
and within the group itself, I'm sure that people have so much room to grow, and that we are not boxed into just one thing, but
Yeah.
with all the subsidiaries,
Yeah.
it can also. We know that we are able to expand to other areas.
Yeah,
as well.
I think the values that we have is actually collaboration. I think nowadays collaboration is one of the key words, right? And that's what we want as well. So I think within the companies, everyone is encouraged to collaborate and is encouraged to create something together, even not just between the group, but also with external parties. We're very open about working with other, because we're also part of a media group, right? But we are very open about working with other media groups, other partners, because we know that what we want to achieve, we cannot achieve on our own. And I think collaboration speaks a lot louder than competition. So.
Yeah, and especially in creative industry,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like the umbrella for this ecosystem that you are on, and creativity cannot be boxed in.
No, it cannot. It cannot.
It has to be like everywhere.
Yeah,
the idea and everything.
And I think it cannot be owned by a single entity as well. And you also have to, let it go if the idea and then evolves and then it gets captured by other people and then they start to create something that is similar to your idea, because that's how it works. Ideas evolve and you have to let it evolve. So
Okay. Now we found
I love
the key
that,
word.
yes.
we have. It's also unintentionally that we said it several times already. The keyword idea. And now we are going to talk about the Ideafest that is coming up.
Yeah.
So the Ideafest, an annual creative industry festival, has been organized since 2011. Last year's Ideafest managed to gather and facilitate hundreds of creative industry players under the theme of Reality Redefined. Now let's take a walk down memory lane to reflect on Ideafest last year in 2022 ahead of this year's event.
Last year's Ideafest themed Reality Redefined was held on 24th until 27th of November 2022 in Jakarta. The event gathered more than 180 creative industry entrepreneurs, 30 stand-up comedians, and 30 culinary talents. Ideafest 2022 held more than 100 sessions, and tens of experimental booths were incorporated as part of the event. Last year, the festival facilitated both domestic and foreign creative industry actors to share ideas, perspectives, entertainment, as well as creative collaborative breakthroughs. The event was aimed at empowering industry players in accelerating Indonesia's creative economy. Co-chairman of Ideafest 2022, Ben Subiakto, said that the creative communities in Indonesia could move together to create works that give long-term impacts on the national economy. The event has become even more important as it was held after COVID-19 pandemic that had caused losses to the creative industry. Ideafest 2022 had a lineup of Brain Trust team who specifically curated various issues and phenomena in the society. The issues featured in the event were art, women's interest, fashion and streetwear, media and advertisement, digital content, as well as urban and culture. Other issues included wellness, entrepreneurship, music, activist and environmental, social and governance or ESG, lifestyle and design. This year's Ideafest will be held in Jakarta from September 29th to October 1st. This year's Ideafest will be held in Jakarta from September 29th to October 1st. Carrying Lead the Leap as its theme, Ideafest 2023 aims to nurture thinkers and innovators who will help shape Indonesia's developed creative industry in the future.
Okay, so we'll still back with us as well as Mbak Desi talking about this really interesting topic, Aisha, on creativity as well as Idea Fest, the keyword ideas that we've been discussing about in the past conversation. So, Mbak Desi, our question to you now is that Idea Fest has been going on since 2011, so this would be 12 years since the start of the first
Yeah.
Idea
Yeah.
Fest. Do you think that since the start of Idea Fest until now, the creative industry as well as community in Indonesia, has it been growing? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it has evolved so much. Ideafest, I didn't found Ideafest. Ideafest was founded by Ben Subiakto and also Andi Noya, Bang Andi. It started in 2011, so I didn't even come to the Ideafest 2011. I think I came the first time at 2013 as one of the participants, and then did I come in 2014? I think afterwards I came, I became speakers and stuff like that, until now I'm part of the committee that actually holds Ideafest. Starting 2019 lah, if I'm not mistaken. I think I take Ideafest very personally because my journey with Ideafest has been such a long time, right? I mean, from participants to now becoming one of the organizers. I'm now the co-chair of Ideafest together with Ben Subiakto. So I think with that, I saw a lot of changes. Even Ideafest itself, when it first started, Ideafest was only like a half-day conference in one of the rooms in Jakarta Convention Center. So it started as a half-day conference, and then it evolved to a full-day conference, and then it evolved to conference and hundreds of talks, and then it evolved to concert, and then it evolves to music, it evolves to a content creator festival, it evolves to creative workshop, it evolves to a food market, it evolves to startup incubation. So I think the way Ideafest has evolved is the same with the way the Indonesia creative economy and industry has evolved as well. I think we were lucky that Bekraf was founded right in 2014. I think we had a lot of support from the government as well. Even Ideafest was intended to be a biannual event, but starting the Jokowi administration, Pak Jokowi administration, he said that creative industry once in 2 years, that's too long. A lot of changes can happen. So this needs to be a yearly event. So that's why we started. That's why Ideafest this year is the 12th year, but it's our 11th time. Because the first time, 2011 is 2013. So that's the history. So if you say, has it evolved? Of course, yes. But I think back then, people did not understand what does creative economy mean. And then the topics, the verticals that were talked about is also very limited. Now we talk about a lot of things. Even impact sustainability is also part of the creative economy industry because nowadays it has to be a part of it. So I think it warms my heart a little bit to see how far the creative economy in Indonesia has evolved, and I'm very happy and proud to say that Ideafest has been a part of it for the past 12 years.
Yeah, and especially like Ideafest has been grabbing more audiences from different range of age, and especially the youth. Like they are not afraid to come to Ideafest to get more ideas. Sometimes they limit we limit ourselves to hear other people's idea. But from the start of Ideafest, for me personally, I can see, oh wow, this is such a groundbreaking. This is a festival for creative industry. This is a good thing now. Indonesia has their own TED Talks.
That's true.
I think that's one of the inspiration.
And a bigger scale as well.
The Southwest is also one of the inspirations. That's why the programs keeps on evolving. I think I don't see a reason why Indonesia cannot be that epicentrum, of the thought leadership and the creative economy. We want that to happen as well for Indonesia. I think that's why Ideafest this every year expanded to, and we also want Ideafest to be an avenue for other initiatives. So say we have a food market last year, and now they have spin off, and then they created their new one, their own. So I think we're very happy to be that avenue as well for people who wants to start something new, because we already have the platform and the audience.
Yeah, and though Ideafest has their own colors now, like we know, like Ideafest, it's one of the event that is people are looking forward to expand their ideas, to have some collaborations.
Yeah.
And I think it is limitless. As you said, it has evolved with so many contents now. And what's in it in this year's Ideafest?
I think this year's Ideafest, the theme that we put together with the team is Lead the Leap. Because I think
Lead
next
the Leap.
Lead the Leap.
Wow.
I think Indonesia has been already in the map for global leadership. We have G20. Last year B20, we had Asian Games. I think the way Indonesia, and then we have the Indonesia Emas 2045, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
been talked about so many times,
Yep.
you know, the demographic bonus and such and such. And because of that, Indonesia needs to step up. I think the youth needs to step up, the leadership needs to step up. The country cannot be a leader if the people in the country are not leaders. And I think what happens is that we believe that 2045 is not that long, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's only about 20 plus years.
Yeah.
It goes.
Yeah.
It's really
22
not.
years,
It's really not that long. So that's why a leap is needed. You cannot just merely jump. You have to leap. And we believe that everybody is a leader and has that capacity to lead. Everyone's leap is different. Everyone's leadership is different. But what we want is to actually catapult that in people. And we know that next year we have the election, which is that is going to be very also very determining point.
Yep.
Also in the country. And I think people also need to understand what kind of leadership do they want for this country, what kind of leadership can we bring to ourselves, and that's why the theme for this year is Lead the Leap.
Lead the lead.
Lead the leap. Yes, we have to note that, Aisha. And we unfortunately we only have a couple more questions for this conversation. But Desi, first closing question is that you mentioned before that when you're in entrepreneurship, you're also pregnant with your with your second child, which I think is really amazing. What advice would you want to give mothers, and especially now you are at the position that you are now in your career, who want to delve into entrepreneurship or business, but still somehow are afraid of going in, are afraid of taking the leap, but also have this big desire to do that?
I think when people say that entrepreneurship is taking a leap from corporation, it is true. But I think it's not a vertical leap. Corporation, entrepreneurship, I don't think one is better than the other. It's just how you choose it to be. It's very, I always say that when people say, oh, I also want to, be an entrepreneur, I also want to found my own business, but I don't want to blah, 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 blah. I don't want to leave the comfort of my monthly salary and such. I always say that it's very easy to say what you want. It's easy, right? I want this, I want this, I want this. What's difficult is to answer the question, what are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want? What are the things that you are willing to let go to get what you want? If you can answer that, then maybe this is what you want. But if you say that I don't want to let go of this to get this, then this is probably not what you want, because that is the question that you have to ask yourself in order, not just what is it that you want, but what is it I'm willing to sacrifice, what is it that I'm willing to pour in to get what I want. If you're not willing to get it, then don't bother.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a message. That's a message from a mompreneur. So mompreneur to another. Like you have a child.
I have two, 12 and 9.
Yeah, 12 and 9. I have a 17-year-old.
Oh my God. I can't believe you have a 17-year-old.
These wonderful moms, like
So
killing
yeah,
it.
it's a good message that we are putting to like if everything starts small from our own house, and then now you were also saying that it takes a leap as well from a mother to become an entrepreneur, and you can do both, and it's about how far you will go for that, and that's the leap that you need to take. Right?
Yeah, I guess so. I think people ask me, how come you still work at night and then in the morning you take your child to school? I say, I just sleep less. If you don't want to do that, then, leave other things. You want to sleep longer, then you probably not do some other things. But for me, it's okay for me to sleep less as long as I can do those things. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Wow,
Such an inspirational discussion
Yes.
for a morning.
Yeah, too early, right?
Yeah.
I think you can have more of this
Really?
discussion later on in.
No, it's not. It's not too early for that because we
No,
are
actually, no. I already took my kids to school at 6:30, so yeah,
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah. Well, we are sharing ideas, and Ideafest 2023
Yes,
is coming
that's
up. Just follow the Instagram and the social
Ideafest.
media.
How do we find you?
Ideafest
Yes.
2023 will be coming up this September 29th to October 1st. It's in Jakarta Convention Center. You can check out our social media account, our Instagram, Ideafest ID, our website, ideafest.id. You can also get the tickets there. Don't miss out.
Yes.
Wow.
So here it is. Some ideas to start your day on Starting Point, and we'll be right back after the break.